President Bola Tinubu today signs the minimum wage bill into law. 70,000 naira is now the official figure for the national minimum wage. And the Federal Executive Council has today directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, the NNPC Limited, to sell crude oil to Dangote Refinery and other local refineries in Naira and not in the United States greenback. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. So a lot of those who want to be part of the protest, the End Bad Governance protest, may be counting down. And of course, the government, the federal government, that's officially discussed that matter at the Federal Executive Council. As far as we know, the minister spoke about it after the meeting. We shall be giving you insight into what was the things that were said and the view of the federal government, the Tinubu-led cabinet, and their ways of addressing the issues on the charter of demands of the protesters. And of course, we'll be hearing some of the details in relation to the Dangote Refinery and the plan to now sell crude, or how much of the crude will the federal government, the NNPCL, be selling to Dangote? And how much will it be sold, at what rate, and what quantity, and in what currency? We'll be getting more insight tonight. It's been some very controversial past days between the federal government and some elements or characters in the NNPCL. We're getting some more insight. A former governor will be speaking to me tonight on the program. And of course, we shall be getting a very strong response also from the People's Democratic Party tonight. Appears to be a very engaging and interesting conversation. So stick around with me, everyone. Let me bring you up to speed with some of your stories. First and foremost, President Bola Tinubu has signed the minimum wage bill into law, ending months of deliberations between the government authorities, labor unions, and the private sector. The president today signed the bill at the State House in Abuja, days after the National Assembly passed the minimum wage bill into law to increase the national minimum wage mark from 30,000 to 70,000 naira. Some members of the National Assembly were also present, including the President of the Senate, and some members of the House of Representatives were around to witness the signing of the minimum wage bill. So when we come back from giving you more insight into stories making the rounds across the nation, politically speaking, I'll let you in on who is my first guest on the program tonight. But first and foremost, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, is asking Nigerians to be patient with President Bola Tinubu's administration, stressing that the president is fully aware of the situation in the country and is working round the clock to address them. The minister made the appeal during a town hall meeting in Yola, Adamawa State, aimed at addressing the proposed nationwide protest scheduled for August 1, 2024.
This government, since this government came on board, the revenue coming to the state have been increased by 45%. So if you look at what has been coming to your state since this government came into being, it has almost doubled.
In Borno State, a coalition of 25 civil society groups have announced their withdrawal from the proposed nationwide strike being planned for the 1st of August. In a press briefing at the NUJ Secretariat in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, the groups under the coalition of concerned civil society groups in Borno State expressed deep concern over the level of hardship and hunger amongst Nigerian populace, but states that Nigerians should rather engage in constructive engagement with the federal government to address the issues. And from the North Central in Kwara State, state. Some groups in the state have distanced themselves from the protest, citing the last destructive EndSARS protest and possible hijacking which could lead to destruction of property. While citing the constitutional rights of individuals and the current hardship in the country, the group believes there are other means of calling the attention of government than protests. In the southwest, the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Abiodun Alamutu, has appealed to parents, community leaders, and leaders of thought across the 20 local government areas of the state to prevail on the youth in their domain over the proposed nationwide protest. Mr. Alamutu was speaking at the command headquarters in Abeokuta, where he noted that the proposed protest could undermine national security. And still in the southwest, a coalition of civil society organizations for good governance in Ondo State have called for dialogue as opposed to the proposed national protest against hunger and good governance in the nation. Addressing a news conference in Akure, the state capital, on behalf of the coalition, a member, Mr. Adedotun Ajulo, laments the current situation of the nation. And a former deputy chairman of the Labour Party, Mr. Callistus Okafor, says he has not taken over the party. Mr. Okafor says his declaration on a 2018 consent judgment of the Federal High Court, which he claimed has not been obeyed, and believes it is the right time to enforce the judgment.
The owner of the house has taken their house. When I mean owner, I'm not contesting ownership of the property with NLC. No. I'm talking about the process, the midwifing of this process.
Meanwhile, the Labour Party has been reacting to the statement of the former spokesperson of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Organization, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo's exit from the party. Speaking to Channels Television at the party's headquarters in Abuja, the National Secretary, Mr. Umar Farouk, says Mr. Okonkwo's reason for leaving the party was his inability to become a Labour Party executive, despite attempting to do so.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. The Federal Executive Council today has directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell crude oil to Dangote Refinery and other local refineries in Naira and not in United States greenback. The Federal Inland Revenue Service boss, Mr. Zak Adedeji, told reporters today after the FEC meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu in Abuja. He said the measure would reduce the strain on the country's foreign spendings and stabilize the pump price of petrol, diesel, and other products in Nigeria. Mr. Adedeji said the FEC ordered the state-owned NNPCL immediately to begin the full implementation of the directive to boost local production of refined petroleum products in Nigeria. Excuse me, take a listen to him.
Solution, innovation to permanently solve our problem. Today, we are not doing anything new. Today, that's what I said. The current scenario is that Dangote and NNPC are in transaction. But what do? Dangote will open letter of credit just to procure crude oil from NNPC. And NNPC will also open letter of credit to purchase PMS or refinery refined product from Dangote Refinery. And both of them, NNPC will sell in Naira. This is mismatch. And you know dollar is not our currency. So when you open letter of credit, apart from finance fee that you pay to all these foreign banks that you need to go to foreign market. It's like me and my brother want to transact here in Nigeria and we open bank account in New York. I will go and look for dollar to pay to New York bank. My brother will go and look for dollar to pay to New York bank for the product that we exchange at our backyard. So Mr. President says this is not economical.
All right, then you heard it. So the issues on the planned protest nationwide is getting more and more attention, and leaders of thought, leaders in the country and well-meaning Nigerians are already speaking about it. And those who are concerned about the situation in our country are speaking up. Of course, the Federal Executive Council today deliberated on the agitations and they have been speaking on the matter. Let me let you into some of what was said today after the FEC meeting. Of course, the minister said that issue was discussed at the FEC meeting. Take a listen to them.
I want to use this opportunity to call on those who are attempting to foment trouble, that you have a right to protest. It's your fundamental right. It is there in the Constitution. but you don't have a right to destabilize the country. A right to protest should not be turned into a right to unleash violence. It's very clear that people who are already, it's already very amorphous, very faceless. So what it means is that people are preparing to loot and go around and do all sorts of things. Where we are today was not caused by 1 year's administration. It is the outcome of years of insecurity. Many people could not go to farms for almost 10 years and all that, and the president has risen to the occasion. Every food item that is coming in now will come in without anything like a restriction. There's no restriction. Bring in food because Nigerians need to eat. And then at the same time, most things are coming in with a lot of waivers. So for me, I'm excited that, yes, indeed, the government is doing what it should. And we, the leaders in the National Assembly, we are touching our various constituencies.
The Senate's President, Godswill Akpabio, speaking after they left the presidential villa. Of course, the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Information, all of them also spoke about the planned protest. But let's get some insight. This time around, I'll be speaking with a former governor of Ekiti State, Governor Ayodele Fayose, who joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. Governor Fayose, can you hear me? Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Oh, Shemon, are you done? I just want to be sure you are done. I'm here.
Yeah.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Let's begin the conversation tonight. And you, as a former governor, when you hear, it does look like a democratic drums of war in the sense that when the people are agitated, those who are the critical mass are saying they are hungry and they are going to march the street. In your own mind, what does this bring up? Is this the ineptitude of government, incapacity of the government, or what exactly do you think this could bring up?
Well, so thank you once again. And let me tell you again that I speak for myself. I speak for those who believe in my judgment and my opinion. And I stand here to say that before now, I have spoken for Nigerians. I have taken very hard positions that even cost me a lot in my life. But by God's grace, at over 60, we are statesmen. We will not look away and allow this country to go down. Already we're in critical situation, very critical. And let me give you an illustration. This illustration will help us very well. When an aircraft is to land, and at some point there's an emergency, there are certain levels that the aircraft wouldn't have gone for the aircraft to fly back, to climb back. Otherwise, the aircraft will crash. I pray Nigeria will not crash. With government and the protesters, let us exercise a lot of restraint. Nobody, well, I won't say nobody. At my time as governor of Ekiti, I was one of the vocal people that was able to put government in check. But there was no time I called out people to go and do the things that can bring the country down. One, we need to be very careful. We are in critical stage of our life. One, it is unfortunate that things are not easy the way they are now. The economy is not the way it should be. And the situation with the ordinary man too is not easy. But let us ask ourselves, is this all about the government? No. In many places, a lot of people will take one way. Is that the government? A lot of people will go and form their own kidnapping. Is that government? When there is rain, people will take the things that they've gathered for the bin. They go and pour it inside the water, inside the rain. Is that government? We are all guilty. We should go back to the drawing board and readdress ourselves as a nation. Hunger didn't start one day. This hunger started long time. That was why they had a rally at the time. They said Jonathan must go. Jonathan left. That hunger did not stop. Buhari came. I spoke to power. Buhari spent 8 years. Nobody said one thing. I didn't remember any rally. I didn't remember during Buhari's regime. Buhari did all he had to do. When I left office, dollar was less than 300. And when you look at the ratio when Buhari was leaving, it has gone up. Nobody held Buhari to ransom until the day he left. Nobody. The simple reason is this: a gentleman and a man who does not talk. When you go out, look at what they went to do at Lekki. I want to appeal to all of us. Let us be very, very careful.
So, I mean, apologies, Governor Fauci, to Biden. There are those who believe that in the last 1 year, our nation is not on the right trajectory. The APC will defend the government of the day to say they are taking tough decisions. In fact, the president, Bola Tinubu, earlier on, in some of the earlier speeches that he made, he had warned that it's going to take some very tough decisions. These policies will be sometimes painful, like the pains of childbirth. A lot of people will remember those statements. But there are those who say, look, this pain is getting too much. You look at the price of commodities, they are really high. These are the things that pertain to the average person. The price of gari, the price of agbado, the price of kwamo, the price of tomato in the market. These are the things that pertain to the average and the poor of our nation. And you are saying they should be calm. How calm could they be? How else could they express themselves when they say they are going to the streets to demand good governance in their country, Governor Fauci?
So I'm not saying people should not go and protest. Protest is legitimate. But just before I go to this issue of protest, there is no man. I said again, I speak for myself. I'm not a member of their party. I will never be a member of APC. If I don't do politics again, I will stay in my house. Which man can turn this country around in 1 year, Sheon? Let us leave APC, PDP. Sheon, which man?
But are they doing the right thing? I agree that they may not be able to turn it around in 1 year. Yes, magic is not, governance is not magic. But the question is that if they're on the right track, wouldn't everyone know, Governor Fauci?
Sheon, may I say to you, I am not going to be here to watch play for anybody. The moment your finances are so bad, it is difficult to pick them from the dustbin. Today, it is not easy to return Nigeria to the original or turn around the situation so easily, Sheon. And I mean what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if we protest. It's good to protest. When you protest, you come back to find the situation the same. That was what I was going to talk about. A Jonathan is not good, a Buhari is not good, and Asiwaju is not good. Then there is a fundamental problem we all have to address. This is beyond an Asiwaju or a Tinubu to come and do miracle. Then Jonathan was said to be the worst leader Nigeria ever had. A Buhari was then the worst of the worst. Then an Asiwaju is the worst. I mean, then we have to invite God from heaven to come and turn around things. So I have been on the saddle for 8 years. When the labor leaders in Ekiti, when they were asking me, when it was impossible, they went on strike. I explained. When I couldn't explain, I joined them in the strike. I had to join them. Every allocation that comes, I give it to them, go and appropriate. People can go to the street, but don't let those that will hijack this protest turn it to where people will now imagine you want to take government from Asiwaju. The perception now is there that is a coup.
Really? Is that what is going on?
That is the perception everywhere. That now they are giving an impression that they want to use this coup for military to come in. If you are not hearing things, we're on the ground. We are ears to the ground. And there's no government that will allow them to come and torpedo his own government. It is good that Ashwadi himself had admitted that protest is good. But the people protesting should remember the consequences if the way they are politicizing it. In Kenya, Kenya is a small country. There's no Muslim-Christian dichotomy there. There's no North-South dichotomy. If people are copying Kenya, they must be careful. Then a lot of people having business should be calling watch out before they start looting. It happened in South Africa before. The consequences of a celebrated issues like this may end up in people beginning to imagine that there's a coup or they want to play a coup. And there's no leader that will allow himself, his leadership to be taken by force.
I mean, if there are coup mongers in our country today, one will think that that's an archaic, that's a very bizarre...
You cannot tell the wicked man how he's going to go about it.
We are too civilized in this country of today, the modern Nigeria, for any military man to think that the right thing to do is to torpedo a government after 20-something years of us returning to this Fourth Republic. I mean, what would make any right-thinking military man think that he would want to take over power? Does that make sense?
The military has not said they want to take over power, and we have not seen signs. But when people begin to take steps, begin to do things that is suggestive of a system that wants to take power from a legitimate government, Nigeria cannot go back home. I feel sad that things are not easy for us, but this is not an option. Rally, protest, fantastic. But you know people, the moment they get on the street, it will be a different story. No government will fold its arms and allow looting. No government will allow itself for people to take over the whole system of their hands.
But Governor Fauci, let me ask you, I mean, as a benefit of someone who has been in government for 8 years, perhaps we know if there are signals of performance of a government. Can you tell Nigerians if, in your own sense, you can feel, you can see any sign of performance or delivery of this government based on its promises to the Nigerian people? Can you see, can you feel, what can you, I mean, leave the fact that your friend is the FCT minister, and I know you will speak good about what he's done in the FCT, but what else do you think that this government has done for the interest of the Nigerian people that can be a solace for them to have hope?
There's no government that will have 100%. There is a build-up before you say, I am hungry. And there's a build-up before you say, I am in hunger. These are issues from the past till today. Boko Haram did not start today. Herdsmen did not start today. People not going to the farm did not start today. There must be a line between reality and fake. If we want to be reasonable, fine. You see, APC may not have done well. PDP may not have done well, but has we Nigerians done well? That's a question. Everybody is culpable. In the instance case, over 90% of Nigerians are playing one prank on the other. So coming to blame overnight a government, you will see that if this protest is left open-ended, the consequences will be too far-reaching for any government to curtail. Because looting, a lot of boys on the street wants to loot. That's the agenda. I had somebody who was working with me in my yard, saying some people said it is time that we are going to break stores in Surulere, in so many places. When they break stores, loses. Except they want to guarantee that these things, they will be careful.
But do you think if you are conversing that there must be caution on the side of the Nigerian people about going to the street to protest against the government of the day? What would you rather have them done to make their grievances known to the government, whom they are thinking that they are far less than what they think that they should have done for them?
So let me clearly say this. This protest is good for government to be called to order in whichever way. But if they tell us we are going to stay at Fajuyi Park in Ado-Ekiti and make our grievances known, perfect. But when you take to the streets, when you begin to rob, when you get uncontrollable, there's no government that will keep quiet. I'm very serious. You see, governors don't have power to call police, to call military, you still come back and blame that government to say you look the way this happened.
But does this government, Governor Fayose, look like a government that is listening? Is this government listening to the people? Is the government listening to the people?
You are a journalist. You are a journalist. I am speaking as a Nigerian and as a politician. I have nowhere to run. I am telling you, the protesters can protest. They must have a face. You can be threatening government and say, we are protesting. We don't have faith. We don't know you. I just say, come. If it's truly, you believe it's your right, come. Say, we are protesting. If you go to Jota at Kanifawemi Park, stay there and protest. But if you let loose the area boys and the boys who are looking for opportunity to take over certain things, the consequences will be much. I keep saying it.
Well, I mean,
I condemn.
Yeah. I asked you, Governor Fayose, does this government look like they are listening? Is this government listening to the people?
Let me answer you this way. Can you start to cook rice and it will be done in one day? Even this Dangote thing last week when I came on the phone, when I came on this your program, I told you I heard somewhere they were trying to bomb Dangote refinery. And I said that the Kaaba are planning to make sure that this Dangote business refinery does not succeed. Is that Ashiwaju? Is that government? And they are collecting money at the point of loading. They are threatening the man. It was 2-3 days after everybody started speaking up. So we can't blame government alone. Majority of Nigerians, if you give them opportunity, they will build the company and make money. Ashiwaju will not go and carry gun. He will not carry gun to be police. He will not carry gun to stop people taking oil. And Nigeria is a very difficult country to govern. We all know that. If a man is to spend 4 years, give him a mid-term. Give him a mid-term. That is my view. The little they can do couldn't have been sufficient enough right now for anybody to say you must bring down that government. Because there must be a motive. There must be a motive. You must be guided.
Governor Fayose, what would you say? It's a difficult time in the country today. And there are a lot of people, perhaps, who don't even have hope of what to eat tonight. As your final word on the program, what would you say is a way forward? What do you think the government should do to alleviate the suffering of the many, many millions of Nigerians who tonight are looking for hope?
Let me say this. Maybe this will now be a better way to represent my mind. I went to one state in the north, and I don't want to mention the name of that state. I was there for 3 days. In the course of my stay, I got familiar with people in that part of the government house that I stayed. So I sat outside and we started speaking to 1 or 2 people. And the gate man told me, he said, how long have you been in government work? He said he has spent 26 years. So I said, good. What is your salary? He said, Mikida, kudi small. I said, how much? He said, it's 34,000. I said, how many children do you have? He said, he has 16. How many wives? He says 4. My brother, problem is inside, for God's sake. If somebody is earning 35,000, what can government do with 17 children? We don't want to be realistic. Another person said he has 8 children, 3 wives, and one of his wives is still expecting. They don't have to be done with our people too. Because when you have children, you go into government. A government that is struggling to survive. It's difficult. When you're asking me, what will I say to them? What will I say to a man who has 17 wives?
All right,
17 children for our 4 wives. Yeah. Yes.
We must sincerely thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it. That's the former governor of Ekiti State, a 2-time governor of Ekiti State. He calls himself the Oshoko, the Onomole, Tonje Jollof Rice.
Jollof Rice. Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Governor Adele Fayoje. Thank you. I'm not sure the Onomole can even reach Jollof Rice again because the price of Jollof Rice is gone up.
It's not getting younger anymore.
All right, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. We take a break, everyone, and when we return, Segun Showunmi will be joining me. He's a member of the People's Democratic Party, and we'll be talking about the state of the nation, the planned protest, and the side of the opposition party. We'll be right back, everyone.
It is new, it is unique and of international standard. Maduka University. Maduka University, a modern university of international standard with modern facilities for learning, committed to training entrepreneurs across different fields of human endeavor, offers admission to students in different courses such as law, accounting, medical lab science,
cybersecurity, mechatronics,
mass communication, nursing, pharmacy, ICT, computer engineering, civil engineering, JUBE program, and a lot more. Maduka University is located in an environment of serenity, safety, and security at Ekwebe, Nsukka, Enugu State. For more inquiry, visit our website, madukauniversity.edu.ng, or call 0805-509-1802 or 0915-789-3107. Maduka University, the place for the transformation you seek.
The Governor of Imo State, His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma CON, on behalf of the government and the people of the state, most warmly welcomes President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and traditional rulers from all the southern states to Owerri on the occasion of the inauguration of the Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council. Date 30th July 2024. Venue Rockview Hotel, Owerri. Time 12 noon. His Excellency is overjoyed that this historic inauguration is holden in Imo State and has pledged to avail our royal fathers all the support they require to make the occasion a huge success. Welcome to Imo, the Eastern Heartland and the home of hospitality. Signed, Chief Cosmas Iwu, Secretary to the Government of Imo State.
Who's your guy? Now Olumide Akpata. See how sweet they like beans and rice. I will never leave your side. I will never ever. I dedicate my time forever. Time to you, my people. Even if the road is rough, I know mine. Cause together we shall stand.
My people, make we all come out on election day and vote Olumide Osaigbavo Akpata, una guy as governor of Edo State. He ready to change our story and bring better life for we and our pikin them. Vote Labour Party, the party for Papa, Mama and Pikin. Make we vote well, oh. Oludi, confirm. Now you be our guy. Labour Party, forward ever.
Olumide Akpata.
My name is Jamie. I'm a scholarship student of Philmont University. I was uncertain when I first arrived, but Philmont University welcomed me with open arms.
Hi, I'm Maya, a law student at Philmont University. From day one, the law program has challenged me. Professors here push us to think critically and argue persuasively.
The hands-on learning experience is amazing. Philmont is where I belong.
Philmont University, where your story begins.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
Everyone for staying with us. So we understand that the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbejokun, has now responded to Mr. Ebun Oluwadegborua, the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is a counsel to one of the organizers of the protest, Take It Back movement. And the Inspector General said that he will deploy and ask some very senior officers to protect the intending participation of the End Bad Governance protest slated for the 1st to the 10th of August 2024. And in that letter, the Inspector General is asking them to cooperate with the Nigerian police force in response to the letter that was communicated by the lawyer to the Nigerian police. And of course, we're getting more reactions. I'm being joined now by Mr. Segun Showunmi, who is a member of APDP. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Seun. How are you?
Will you be? I'm good. Will you be on the street too for the protest?
It depends. It really depends. It depends. It depends. My mood, how I see the plans going, the language, the potential. Let me put it this way to you.
So really, the opposition, your party is not behind the planning.
Seun, it is irresponsible for anybody to take what he has not invested in. And it is criminally painful to have government people and supporters of the ruling party look for who to blame but themselves for this. It's even worse to imagine that a nation of 200 million people, Nigerians, young people, don't have a mind of their own. Yes, I understand the business of people who cry wolf. But the truth of the matter is that the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, the party that I proudly represent, is too responsible to join in this cacophony that creates the impression that, young people don't have the constitutional right to protest.
Has anyone said that?
Just 1 second. When we were in government, it was our rivals, then in opposition, who championed protests and led the street protest. But because we are far more responsible and we understand the delicate nature of nation managing the country, we haven't done that. But let no one in their imagination now begin to blame us or blame anybody at that for activities that all of us are wondering, how do we manage it going forward? So putting it straight on the table. Yes, we recognize the right of people to protest. We respect the language and whatever it is that they are bringing to the table. We caution the federal government to be responsible, reasonable, and understand that one of the critical, legs of democracy is freedom of association, freedom of protest. And that, in fact, a test of their capacity to manage things will be how they handle this very serious situation that the country has found itself. I quarrel with the choice of the language of most of their supporters. They seem to want to say, give us time. We made the country somehow. And you ask yourself, are these people joking? You got this nation. This nation was passed to you in 2015. To date, that's 9 years.
Not to Bola Tinubu.
That is irrelevant. It's one government, it's one party. I'm not speaking to you as an individual. I'm speaking to you on behalf of the only democratic institution in this country called PDP. We are not blaming them for their misstep for 8 years. Who's going to hold himself responsible for the activities that they themselves took in the last 1 year to make it worse? And I can list some for you. When you take over a nation that all the indicators tells you we have a problem of unemployment, we have a problem of poverty and all that, and the first thing you can see to do before you even get onto the chair is to remove subsidy, whatever that meant, who's responsible but you? When you choose to remove subsidy before you even breathe on that and see the impact of that, you go and float the currency and make your currency lose value overnight. Who's going to blame anybody but you?
Are those decisions wrong?
They are so wrong because they
remove subsidy.
No,
but I imagine your principal said he wanted to do the same.
I am not in the business of this. We're not in campaign period now. Let me tell you the fundamental difference between our position on subsidy and theirs. We come with experience because in the Obasanjo Atiku regime, we embarked on phased removal of subsidy, first point. Second point, we engage the civil society, the organized labor, the private sector, the manufacturer for a roadmap on how to do it. When they say this must happen first, we make that happen, then we move to the next step. Then we make that happen, then we move to the next step. Nobody takes government and in a lackadaisical attitude, in an unfeeling and unempathetic manner, pretend as if he's talking only to his overfed friends. Nigeria is made up of maybe 220 or more, and the vast majority of us are poor. And do not be deceived that because you can afford 3 square meals, that means that everybody in the whole of this country can afford it. And if they cannot afford it, the question then gets to be asked, what then is the responsibility of government other than to make sure that the people in the country can survive?
What should the president, you are condemning the decision of the president to remove subsidy on the first day. There are those who will argue that naturally, by execution of time, that the issue of subsidy came dead as soon as the president came on board because in the budget, in the first place, it wasn't even being catered for.
Let me make it easy for you, my dear friend. The language was even wrong. You can't say you are removing subsidy when you're floating the currency because at the end of the day, you're going to run yourself into a crisis of how do you even keep the price the way you intended. Why didn't you just say, I'm going to increase the price so that the room for negotiation can be there? Right now, people suspect that some kind of subsidy is being paid because when you check the landing cost of PMS and how much the people are paying, you know that there's a bit of a gap. So what have you really done? Listen, my friend. And nobody should try to pussyfoot our face or give us the impression that everybody in this country is mainly stupid. You cannot run a big nation like ours in a manner that suggests that you have not really thought through your policies, you have not impacted it on how it's going to impact the people, and you have not come up with creative ways to solve the problem. I'll give you another one. If you remove subsidy on the first day, why must it take you 1 year and 2 months before you can increase the salary of civil servants? Did the price not start impacting from the next day? When you were throwing money all over the place, saying you are doing palliative, giving money to your friends who are governors, misbehaving all over the country, what did you think was going to happen? Okay, now we're here. And I want to say to Nigerians, with every sense of responsibility, because we have ruled this country, we've led this country before, and we plan to lead it in the future.
The APC will say that
will not...
You ran this country aground.
Are you for real? Do you not have statistics?
That's what the APC will say.
Forget what the APC is saying. They can tell themselves all sorts of lies.
Would you say that the PDP gave Nigeria a good country?
At the worst of our performance, Jonathan years, we were still doing 5-point-something growth %. Do you know what the size of the Nigerian economy was in 2015? It was the largest growing economy in Africa. Where are we today? I'm not here for that. Sheung, we have found ourselves in a situation. They don't even know how to get themselves out of it, and so we have to help them now. And I'll say to the Nigerian people, once we choose democracy, the demagogy of language of dictatorship has to change. When we were running military dictatorship and all of that, the demagogy of strike, put people on the street, we're not going to agree. That was the language of then. In a civilian democracy, the demagogy must be consultation, conversation, and short intervention. You can't have a 10-day protest. If you say you want to have a 10-day protest, do you know what 10 days does to the country? Why don't you do it 3 days so they get the message? Even as it is now, are they not already pissing in their pants with all of their aides running up and down the place and ventilating in manners that suggest that they are just running like a rat on a hot plate? And now we are the ones who have to now say to people, Nigerians, this country is ours. there will be a day for that day of rage, and it is on the next day of the next election. Because I tell you what, democracy is, as it were, civilian monarchy. But the beauty of that civilian monarchy is that it is termed. And therefore, we know that after every 4 years, we can have a referendum on their performance. And if they have not done well, we can vote them out. But if we insist that we're going to do some copycat syndrome that's going to make our country become ugly because of their inability to manage things, the fact that people say they are coming for protest, have they told you they are going to go and start burning things? Have they told you they are going to go and start destroying the country? Why are you making those assumptions on their behalf? The responsibility of security agencies is to provide a conduct for them and make sure that they can operate within. Look, there was a protest in Leeds a few days ago. Young people were getting angry. For some reason, young people are getting angry all over the world. Did you see the people of that country start shooting at or trying to say that young people can't do that?
I imagine that, I mean, for those who experienced the fallout of the EndSARS of 2020 October, those who think that if you go to Lagos, the Lagos governor, I mean, interestingly, is still the person who is in office today, will tell you that it was a very, very sad day for the people of Lagos, considering the wanton destruction of property. Interestingly, my house where I live, it was around that corridor, around the Julius Berger area in Lagos, where you find the BRT buses, loads and loads of them that were destroyed. A court was razed down. The only forensic laboratory in the whole of the region was also burned down. The question is that wouldn't you be one of those who will blame this government that they don't have foresight for being proactive?
For the benefit of all of us who are members of this country and not only members and league people of the APC, let me educate you. There was a protest when Jonathan was in charge. Did it lead to that? Why didn't it lead to that? Why was it the protest that the APC managed that took place underneath the APC same regime?
So there's nothing to fear.
The point
there's nothing to be afraid of.
The point I'm making is that even that EndSARS process was a mismanagement of their capability. How were we able to manage all of them, including all of their leaders, the Tunde Bakaris of this world, the Buharis of this world, the Bola Tinubu, when they were ventilating protests? Why were we able to manage them? Because we understood that it is the inalienable right of the citizens to protest, and it is the responsibility of the government to manage the protest until they can bring it to a de-escalation.
So you imagine that if an Atiku is in office, he would have done better. Is that what you are trying to say?
You know, when you put it this way, you really put a dagger in my heart, because he would not only have done better. Ashadu Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to that office with limited experience on managing the infrastructure called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The best of his experience was just sitting down in Lagos and running Lagos. Lagos is not Nigeria. You can't compare that to somebody who has been vice president of the country, sitting with Obasanjo, running the country together with him, learning the ropes there and understanding that even from the forming of government, you balance things. Shehu, I will not have anybody suggest that the PDP is responsible for it. We are not. We're not the ones calling people to protest. We're not the ones instigating anybody. We're not the ones fingering anybody. All we are saying to them is that, gentlemen in charge of the country today, the language to speak to young people when they are angry is a lot of begging, a lot of empathy, a lot of conciliatory conversation. You don't bully them.
All right, Mr. Segun Shogumi, let me pause you for a moment.
Pause me.
We need to go on a break again. When we come back, more conversation about the way forward for our country, especially with the Tinubu-led administration confronted with a mass protest that have been promised by some young Nigerians. How do we go from here? A continuing conversation after this break, everyone. Join us.
The Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council is pleased to announce its formal inauguration at Owerri, the Imo State capital. His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, will be the special guest of honor, while the Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, CON, is the chief host. Date, July 30th, 2024. Venue, Rockview Hotel, Owerri. Time, 12 noon. All royal fathers invited to the occasion are expected to arrive Owerri on July 29th, ahead of the inauguration on the 30th, while 31st is slated for departure. Together, we shall strengthen the unity of Nigeria. Signed, His Royal Majesty Dr. Benjamin Nkenchuku, Dane of Agbo.
In the last decade, the impact and importance of natural gas has increased substantially. Natural gas is playing a more prominent role. It will begin to replace petroleum as the fuel of choice as we continue to consider the environmental impact of liquid fuel. And this book, written by me, is one of the resources you'll find to understand the sector. You may want to understand how to conduct due diligence exercises, the what, the why, and the how of energy transactions. You want to understand how the gas transmission network code works? You need this text. This text is written by me, Ayodele Oni, and I have nearly 20 years of experience advising and investing in the energy sector.
Thank you so much. Some more people are talking about the planned protest. One of them is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Edo State. That's Mr. Akpata, who is a former president of the NBA. Let me show you a portion of what he said in his statement earlier today. And Mr. Akpata is asking, apart from what he has advised the federal government, he had advised the protesters, he had advised security agencies, and this is how he concluded his thought. And part of his conclusion, he said, as we navigate these challenging times, let us remember that the strength of our democracy lies in our ability to peacefully express dissent, engage in constructive dialogue, and work collectively towards the betterment of our nation. The right to protest is not merely a constitutional provision, it is a vital mechanism for citizens to participate actively in the governance of their country. Those are some of the thoughts of Mr. Olumide Akpata, the Edo State Labour Party governorship candidate. Let me get back to Mr. Segun Showome. What do you make of that narrative, or that the tone of Mr. Akpata's voice, being a former president of the NBA?
Every decent person understands that if not for the right of people to protest, under the guise of democracy, rogues will seize power and do whatever they like and expect everybody to just go home and just laugh. These protests have been there, they remain there, they are the rights of people. What serious nations do is manage these conversations. You manage the conversations by listening to what they're saying, coming up transparently to answer some of these queries. If they want a reduction in the price, do they not have a right to demand that? If they want, you meet them halfway. And if they say, no, they are faceless people that are engaging them, then exactly who are you planning for? So I think that, yes, the nation must be careful of fifth columnists. I hold that very sacrosanct, and also international conspirators who may want to destabilize our country. But then again, if they knew what they were doing in that villa, you would have to ask them, what do they think is the responsibility of the Nigerian intelligence agency? Is it not to comb the country for the countries of the world for us?
You heard the warning that was raised by Governor Fayose about what these tendencies are.
You know, when I was listening
and he's saying that they should be, people should be careful so that they don't play into the hands of coolmongers.
No, that's rubbish. That's rubbish. People, when I listened to Ayodele Fayose, I kept telling myself, oh, how are the mighty fallen? Do people leave governments and lose everything that people respect them for? If you want to ask Nigerians to have empathy for the government, you cannot start talking as though that empathy should start because of President Bola Tinubu. No. You can't say, oh, the country was bad before and it was not so. There is nothing to reflect that. The Obasanjo regime, we got to double digit. Jonathan with double digit, then we became at least always afloat. We survived, the PDP made Nigeria survive a global meltdown in the financial sector. Even what happened, and America and others could not even survive. Ngozi carried us over it and we escaped.
In a mostly rent economy.
It doesn't matter. You are not going to...
Less of production.
Listen, man.
Too much of
how much production?
Listen,
how much production can they do when the price of oil is very high? The price of power is very high. The cost of borrowing money is very high. They are even so annoying.
So there is nothing that to credit this government for that they have done in the last 1 year. Is it that bad?
I have tried to understand their policy direction, but I am lost because of the characters that typifies who this government is. Imagine in Nigeria where the children, the biological children of the president are issuing orders to Nigerians because of a protest. When did we get to that level? Even in the worst days of General Sani Abacha, that people like to say, never was a time where students say, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. As how? In what capacity? Under what guise? We're not going to surrender Nigeria to one party that is not doing well. They can stay there.
So you're saying that this government is not doing well?
If they were doing well, why are the people upset? Do you know what's going on in the country?
But the government has said, look, give us some time. 1 year is not enough for us to
that's where my problem with them is. When they came in 2015, they didn't say, oh, Jonathan government. They said 16 years.
Can you excuse Bola Tinubu and his administration from whatever activity or performance of the Buhari government? Let's look at what has happened in the last over 1 year since Bola Tinubu got into office. Would you say that the Bola Tinubu-led government is doing the wrong thing in the last 1 year?
You know, the thing about governments is that they have a 4-year tenure, and it's 1 year and 2 months gone. So that's more than a quarter of the tenure gone. The things that they have even caused by themselves, the crisis they've caused by themselves, the firmness that they could have put on the table that they have excused, I'll give you one, Rivers. What kind of national leader would tolerate the kind of nonsense that Nyesom Wike, as the FCT minister, is doing in Rivers? Who will tolerate that? I can tell you why Atiku will not tolerate it. In 2002 or thereabout, he went to Anambra. Mbadi Nuju was governor under PDP, and the schools were closed. He came back livid, and they ensured that Mbadi Nuju never came anything close to government again. Why? Because a leader has to carry a certain level of patriotism. And that patriotism is the scale that tells him this type of behavior will not go here, this will not go here, this will not be accepted here. I was on your program, Sheung, when I was screaming, Mr. President, you are making more money and giving more money to the states. You have not told them what to do with it. And you are watching these guys do that. And what has happened? It has impacted the dollar.
Is this his fault to have made more money available
to
the states?
It is his fault to the extent that he pretends as if he does not know the country he's leading. This is an environment where officers are generally very corrupt.
We need to
He shouldn't have taken one whole year.
We need to get our country working. If the Tinubu government, according to you, in your own assessment, is not doing the right thing, how do we, on a final note, how do we get on the right track?
I think the president, first of all, if I were him, I first of all constitute a council of states where all former leaders come and they come and solve the problem that all of them caused. Thereafter, I'll then say, okay, this is where we are. Rejig that cabinet. When you wanted to put a minister for youth affairs, did you not understand the country you are coming to lead? Do you not know what it will be required for the president to have boots on ground? If you had made Dayo Israel the minister of youth affairs, perhaps he would have had more boots on ground with young people. You can't just be running anyhow and expecting us to be clapping for you. You are a mess.
We are totally out of time.
Oh, okay.
Segun Showunmi or Otumba Segun Showunmi.
I was wondering when you shift me.
All right. We rarely use titles on the media, but thank you so much.
You can use title for me. My name is Otumba Segun Showunmi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Segun Showunmi, for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Ogbeni Showunmi, be careful.
That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Akim Aloe. Bye for now.
Did you know you can access electoral information with just a click? Introducing Nigeria Elections, an inclusive artificial intelligence platform that guides citizens on Nigeria's electoral and civic landscape. Say bye to misinformation and disinformation. Visit www.nigeriaelections.ng today. Nigeria Elections, addressing democratic questions.
Nigeria is blessed with iconic wildlife. Elephants,